terms of reference.
I mean, if you see by that, photo, that's the boundary there. That's where the house will be. It's quite close.
So my initial thought was that doesn't rely upon election.
So, yeah, and that, I mean, that's the photo there. And in the speech it says, once it's built, that's on my go-to.
Yes, we're just waiting for it. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to make sure that we had quorum, and we have. So thank you very much for coming along to the first planning committee of the new council. And obviously, on the agenda, the first item is to elect a chair for the committee. So I would just like to invite nominations for the chair, please.
Well, I don't know if Quinn wants to carry on, he's doing a good job.
Yes.
Or whether he wants to nominate me, I know he did that.
I don't wish to carry on as being chair, so
Is somebody prepared to be nominated?
Yeah, I don't mind chairing it.
I'll nominate Councillor Franklin.
And I'll second that.
Thank you.
We've got to swap seats. Are you right there? No, he's not getting online.
Can we do it for you, because I know how to do it?
Do you want to come down there?
Okay, I didn't want to
Thank
cover
you.
up the
Thank
Who is
you.
that one?
You
So
come next to
Councillor
the.
Frank is now chairing the meeting, thank you.
Pop your pen in and I'll sort it out.
Phone won't go off.
It does answer.
You're right.
I'll put it on.
Thank you. Item 2, to elect a vice chair. Dean, do you fancy being the vice chair or?
I would put my name forward, however, the only thing is for me is my timekeeping, because I've only been to 2 planning committees in the 2 years that I've been on the council because of work commitments.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to, if someone else wants to second me. I mean, I have my employer now has the diary for me, so it's pretty clear. They're pretty clear what days I can have off as early finishes. So and they're quite happy with that. So if I have a second, I'm quite happy.
So the current terms of reference state that the mayor will be the deputy mayor.
Oh,
Of this.
That saves it then.
Thank
Got out of that one. Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
Can I just borrow that password? Yeah?
Oh. Oh, I don't know, it's a secret. Okay.
Thank you.
Item 3, apologies for absence received.
Thank you very much. So we have apologies from Councillor Morehouse. He's actually at a Dover District Council meeting this evening, and Councillor Carter, the Mayor, is actually travelling back, so he will be here, but he will be late. We also have apologies from Councillor Dan Friend, our Dover District Councillor.
Okay, thank you. Item 5, to consider co-optees, decision is required. Oh, sorry, yes, before galloping now. Now we just finished before Paul gets there. Item 4, declaration of interest. To receive any declaration to disclose pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda. 5, to consider co-optees, decision required. We've got about 3, don't we?
So
I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
So am I, but it's up to you guys. Wish us to continue.
Well, you've been on it before, haven't you? So you're getting the hang of it now.
I think I've been here more than a lot of people.
So the terms of reference state that the 3 co-optees are the chair of the nominee from the local history society, nominee from the town team, and the voluntary tree warden. But Nikki Warden is unable to attend in person, but she does provide written reports.
Okay.
So yes, so if you can vote, please, that you're happy with those.
Yeah. Okay. 6. Minutes of the Planning Committee. To note the minutes of the Planning Committee held on the 19th of April 2023 and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. Attached on 9.
Yeah, I'd like to, this is the 19th of April, yeah.
Yes.
I've already commented to both Councillor Wiles and Councillor Carter about this. Nothing can be done now, but when the Bexhanger people spoke to us, Councillor Wiles said he would raise it at this committee and we would put forward a comment to DDC. Councillor Carter seconded that, and then when it came to the meeting, the committee, Councillor Carter immediately said, no, we shouldn't comment. That resulted in a split of even numbers, and as a result we didn't put a comment in. And I just want to say I think it's wrong for a councillor to say one thing at one meeting and change his mind subsequently, and I think we let the Bexhanger people down with that.
Anyone else? No? Yeah, do you propose the minutes? Do the minutes? What's the one propose the minutes?
Thank you.
Second.
Yeah, all in favour?
I'm just putting it now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item 7, public participation. A 15-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 3 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the interim town clerk prior to 9 AM on the Friday preceding the meeting.
Yes, Kim Merriam is here, I believe, to speak.
I'm speaking on the application there. Is it still?
This is your opportunity,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it remembered it now, so.
I'd like to object to planning application 220134 for the erection of a detached dwelling on land adjacent to our house, 95 St George's Road. Our living room has a southwest facing window overlooking the site. The proposed building will be approximately 3 metres away. This is the main window in our lounge to receive any direct sunlight. We are concerned that the proximity and scale of the development will make our living room and garden gloomy due to loss of sunlight and overshadowing, and it will be detrimental to our living conditions. Prior to the application, several mature trees were felled. In January, a digger dug a large trench on the site. The ecology report confirms that this destruction and states that the site is characterised as woodland in the 2012 Habitat Survey, and it's been present since at least 1960. It states that there is a high likelihood of protected reptiles and amphibians, habitat for hedgehog, that's birds and invertebrates. Sorry, and we've been seeing these for many years in our garden. Tree report tabulates that the remaining, I can't do it here. Right. Sorry.
The tree report tabulates that 10 remaining trees and hedgerow on the site will be removed. But another horticultural consultant has stated that the trees have a higher retention value than the category C due to their size and visual amenity, and that the tree stumps of the felled trees may regenerate. The interim TPO covering this area is due to expire in June. Our house is in a conservation area. The trees in this area are protected and we have to apply for permission to do any works to them. We've previously been told by the council officials that the trees and hedgerow are important to the landscape character of the semi-rural setting of the street. This site provides an important wildlife corridor to allow species to travel from the urban environment between conservation woodland, sandwich marshes and the River Stour. Planning policy and guidance supports the preservation of green spaces as benefits to the health and well-being of the community, biodiversity, climate and flood mitigation. Although the planning maps list the site as an area of archaeological potential due to being near to the site of the 14th century King's Castle and the ancient port, and an area of risk of ground and surface flooding. The planning permission is obtained, Sir Roger Manwood School plans to sell the land for the development of one house to part fund a floodlit hockey pitch outside the settlement boundary. It's understood that they hope to gain funds from community use, and this will be mainly from Deal Hockey Club. Since hockey is a winter sport, the nighttime floodlights will potentially affect the nature reserves on the Sandwich Marshes. This year, the school allows 2.1 million by KCC. This substantial funding would seem to make further destruction of the local environment unnecessary. Allowing the development of the site could only provide one house, but it would breach draft local plan SP4 on residential windfall developments, as development of such sites should not have an adverse effect on the landscape features, biodiversity and heritage assets, flood risk and existing properties. The existing properties at 140 and 148 would be overlooked by the new property and infringe on their privacy, and the current planning only has space for limited parking, meaning that there would be more cars on an already busy St George's Road, creating a new hazard with a potential crossroads with the road that services 142 to 146. Thank you for allowing us to speak at your meeting today.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I ask some questions, if I may, to the gentleman?
Certainly.
Just two. So, is a digger still on site at the
No.
moment? It's gone.
The biggest man.
And also the photo that you took of the southwest facing living room window, was that what time of that day was that taken?
That was taken approximately 1:30 on in January time.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much.
How close is it? 3 metres?
Yeah, it would completely exclude all direct
There is a thing
sunlight.
called ancient lights, and they can't put your sunlight out.
They can block. They're not allowed to block daylight. Direct sunlight is still debatable.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Item 8, planning applications. Application plans and papers can be viewed via the Dover District Council website. A. Reference 23/00166, location 2 Johns Green Sandwich, CT 130DE. Proposal variation of condition 2 approved plans to allow amendment to planning permission DOV/21/01811 application under section 73 for the erection of a detached bungalow, cycle shed, recycle store, associated parking and turning area. I think the first application got turned down, didn't it? And then this is the second one. It looked like these amended plans. It looked more like the first application that was turned down. So I think we should just go with. Personally, I think we should just turn down this the variation of condition 2 and just let them. Otherwise, it's more or less what they started with.
I mean, this has come here on multiple occasions, and each time they seem to be tweaking the application.
Yeah.
It started off as a flat roof modernist bungalow, now it's a pitch roof, and they seem to be playing the system. And I think we should object to it quite strongly, because it's not how the planning system should work. You should be completely open and transparent in the way that you approach planning. You don't get planning and then come back again and again with variations. It's not the way to do things.
A bit like a very similar application that keeps coming back to this table that's in the Fellowship Walk, isn't it? So, yeah.
What others think?
Martin.
Yes, I sometimes find it difficult to see on the application what is the actual variation from the previous application. But it's true that the system doesn't seem to work properly at the moment, in the sense that it's not clear what is a variation and what is a return to the fundamental principle.
So we've got a proposal that we reject this application. You're proposing that, Councillor?
I propose we strongly object.
I second that.
So you're in favour that we object to the amendment to the B. Reference 23/00166 2-3/00176, location 57 New Street, Sandwich, CT 13 9BD. Proposal removal of debris to repair, renovation and reconstruction of route to the main building.
I couldn't find this application.
No, I can find it online.
This is the line.
Yeah. 57 New Street. I think we need to, skip it also.
I looked both under this, the reference and the street address, and it's not listed on the portal.
No, I couldn't find it at all.
I had heard that an application had gone in for the roof, but given that part of the building is falling down and sticking a roof on, might not be the best.
Can it be deferred?
It will depend on when the deadline is for the comments.
Well, we don't know if it's not on the internet website.
It's definitely been on the list, so I don't know whether something's happened and it's not made it to the
I
website.
think the rear wall of that property now is starting to go right over. They've got some scaffolding up on it, and I think that's probably what's holding it up. So if they started to do anything on the roof, I would imagine there'll be movement and it will all come down.
It's part of the course. Putting a new roof on a building that's structurally unsound does not make sense.
This has been
Start
going
from
on.
the bottom up.
It's been going on for 16 years to my knowledge, and I'm sure it was going on before I came here and ever heard of it or got involved in it. It just goes on year in, year out, with the place getting worse and worse and worse.
Can't see it. Yeah, we can defer it.
Okay, right, we'll check that.
Excuse me. I know our town clerk is only temporary interim part-time. Would it be normal procedure, or could it be, for the town clerk to check the website and go back to DDC if these items are not there for the committee to see?
Yes, so I get sent a list every week from Dover District Council, and that's where I take the information from. But you're quite right, if I was here full time, because I'm not at the moment, I'm here 3 days a week, I would be checking the website, but I'm very apologetic, I just don't have
No,
the
I
capacity.
understand, but maybe that could be
Yes,
part of the
certainly.
job description for whoever.
Certainly, yeah.
I mean, we're only a consultee, but we, in my opinion, we cannot vote for anything unless we can't see it, so we can't vote for it. So that's why it should be deferred.
And
Okay.
also, it's not clear from this, is the planning application for removal of debris, or is it also for a plan to repair the roof? We don't know. I've never heard of a planning application being required for removal of rubbish.
No, it's skip it, don't it? It's off the road as well, isn't it? Okay, thank you. C, reference 22/01341, location, land next to 95 St George's Road, Sandwich, CT 13 9LE, proposal, erection of a detached dwelling, new vehicle access, associated parking and landscaping. I think we turned this one down before, didn't we? Yeah,
So I would like to propose that we strongly object to this application based on the previous objections, the loss of light, the impact on neighbouring properties, and also significantly the impact on wildlife and trees on the site.
it was green corridor, isn't it?
My main concern would be obviously the hockey pitches are being done up at the moment, aren't they? So could they put an application in for the pitches for the floodlights, and if those trees are taken down, the floodlights are going to be all over the houses. So that's one of my objections for it as well.
You're going to second that?
Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah.
You're all in favour that we reject the application?
Strongly object.
Thank you, yeah, strongly object.
D, reference 23/00550, location 99 St George's Road, Sandwich, CT 13 9LE, proposal, home oak, repoller back to the previous pruning points, false acacia, crown reduced back to the previous pruning point and reshape, both the subject of tree preservation order, number 301997. I think these trees are going to grow. I think they just take them back. They've been followed before.
Yeah.
So I can't see any product. So we're happy with that. aren't we?
Straightforward.
Yeah, straightforward. We followed in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have a
Sorry, I just want to, is that support or no comment?
just support.
Support, thank you.
second that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think all in favour of that, then, I'd like to read all of it.
Thank you.
A reference 23/00420, location White Mills Wake and Aqua Park, Ash Road, Sam, CT13 9JB. Proposal: development comprising engineering and excavation work to facilitate the creation of a shallow artificial training lake for water sports activities associated with the wider site. The change of use of the land to enable 23 pitches for tents, touring caravans and 7 static caravans, erection of a single-storey facilities building, additional parking and drainage. Well, I'd just like to say, I think it's nice to see its jobs and things. The only thing that worries me is these 7 static caravans. Because if we start allowing static caravans, a whole load of them meadows either side of the road, it'd be full of statics, wouldn't it? And we've always strongly rejected any development on that area, on that visual aspect of the town. It's such an open place.
Yes, immediately opposite you've got the traveller site where they're putting caravans, and we're objecting to that. So if we're objecting to them, personally I don't think we can object to one cultural change to somebody else who is of a different culture. I think it would be very problematic. Certainly I would find that problematic.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, we had those comments on social media that eventually there'll be houses on it. It's a floodplain that floods every winter.
It'd be full of static caravans, though, wouldn't it? The whole lot.
There was an email that went through the chain a couple of weeks ago regarding the addition of the trailer park and White Mills Wake, and about some of the planning applications stuff that they put in wasn't completed. However, for instance, the ponds and especially sewage and stuff. I don't know whether you've read that.
I did ask to speak on this.
Oh, did you, ma'am?
Yes, I'm ready to speak. I don't know where it's.
Sorry,
Also,
you
if I
just
could speak as well.
you just emailed me today. I did say that you could come and attend the meeting, but sadly it is too late to request to speak. But of course, if members are happy, if they want to take questions or you know, if you wanted to speak to them on this item.
So you're the owner of what? The park? Okay.
Yes, part owner.
But I emailed, and this you knew over a week ago that I was going to come forward. I got a response. Caroline Latham.
Sorry, I haven't
Oh, yeah.
received that.
We received the email regarding the certain things. That's from Marnie Cater.
No, I got a response from you, from the council, saying that you were expecting me.
Okay, I do apologise. I haven't had that message, but I knew about Mrs. Berrier. That's the one I knew about. So if the chair's happy to.
If you'd like to.
Thank you. I'm speaking on behalf of Sandwich Environment Conservation Group. The planning application contains no information regarding the disposal of foul sewage. Furthermore, the applicant unequivocally confirms on the application form dated 22nd of March 23 that he does not know how the foul sewage will be disposed of. This alone should have caused the application to be rejected by DDC Planning before any public consultation. 2. Sandwich already has ample facilities for static caravans, as you were saying, touring caravans and tents, but Sandwich Leisure Park barely a kilometre from the Aqua Park site. An additional trailer park is unnecessary and will further blight the entrance to the town. 3. The original planning approval for this site was subject to commitments and conditions which were intended to mitigate the degradation of the natural environment. These commitments and conditions have not been fulfilled, and there has been no enforcement by the DDC or the Environment Agency. There's a long number, I won't bother telling you, in the supplementary landscaping plan required standard trees, native mixed hedgerow and native scrub mix to be planted in the first planting and seeding seasons. The number of trees planted is considerably less than indicated on the plans, and there are no signs of the other promised vegetation. The hedgerow specifically demanded by the Sandwich Town Council on 28th of January 21 has not been planted. Condition 4 of the planning approval required the creation of 2 wildlife ponds and a filtration pond. Not only has this not been done, it is now proposed to put a trailer park on the site of one of the wildlife ponds. Condition 15 of the planning approval required that a wastewater treatment system, a WWTS, be approved and operational before any use of the buildings. The Environment Agency has denied issuing a permit to operate the WWTS or receiving any details of the installation or details of where the effluent is being discharged into the environment. The planning process will become a meaningless box-ticking exercise if applicants are allowed to provide incomplete and deficient planning applications and there are no compliance checks nor enforcement actions ensuring that all conditions and commitments have been met. We request that the Sandwich Town Council Planning Committee carefully consider all the information provided, both from an enforcement perspective regarding the original development and failure to meet the required conditions and the concerning issues with the current application. That is what's written on behalf of SECG. But from my point of view, I'd like to add that acting responsibly and with integrity is possible for all you councillors. And I do hope you won't be swayed by personal connections and honour the urgency of what we request. You only have to listen to the news today and tipping point. Every action counts, and it's such small things we're asking you to take. It's wonderful what's happening, I'm sure, to have it. It's just the action that's needed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I request that the gentleman can...
Well, it's still an ongoing project, isn't it? It's not complete.
Well, that's what I was
It's
just
still
gonna say.
ongoing, he's still tree
Yeah.
planting, he's still...
I was wondering if the committee would allow the gentleman to have a say as well before we discuss it.
Yeah.
If that's
Yes,
if that's
good.
okay.
Like it.
I would like to say about the voucher, that is all, the paperwork is all in. It took so long to get a response from the Environment Agency to do it, which was all, it's all been done, it's all fine, it's all passed, but as in like the scrape ponds and everything else, it's all money. And it's still ongoing. It's myself and my partner, we've borrowed no money from the bank, we've done it all off our own back. And it's ongoing. And at the moment, the thing like putting in this planning now for the tents and the caravans, it's all to do with the wakeboarders to be holding the UK nationals, the championships and all that. Where all these wakeboarders, the pros, the semi-pros, they're not local. They all come from far away, and that, no matter what park they all go to all the time, they all like to stay. They stay there. They stay in their tents. They rock up in their vans, and that's how it is. And then like the beginners lake, which is a little lake really, that is for the real small ones, just to get their balances backwards and forwards, rather than now getting pulled off straight away on the one that's a bit bigger and a bit more daunting. But as for like you saying about this scrape, this hasn't been done, that hasn't been done, it's all going to be done, but it all comes down to it's ongoing. We're going to have ongoing work there for a few years, with all things that we want to do. It's going to be a nice leisure park.
Yeah, but we've only got a few years left. This is tipping point, and every action.
No, we're not having a
Well,
discussion.
it's supposed to address the councillors, but that's okay. Okay. As you said, it's ongoing. So, and this is this new application is probably part of the ongoing.
Yes. And to be honest with you, it perhaps won't happen for we start it next year.
Yeah.
And until we take some money this year, which we will do, as soon as we knew it was going to be a season thing, a summer thing, as soon as the good weather's here, and now we've noticed the last 3 weekends it's picked up. Come the summertime when we'll have some money behind us again, we'll just be cracking on.
Yeah, I do like it. The only thing is I don't like your statics. So I'm scared that once you have 10, people down the road say, oh, look, You know, they're there, and there's a lot of meadows there.
Yeah, well, I think it was only for 7, isn't it?
For 7, yeah. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, because what it is, there's a few families, well, there's a lot of families that are into it, where the families will stay in the caravans, and then the kids are in the tents and all that. But where like these other places that hold these competitions, that you can do that. They've got the permission to do all that. And what worries me a lot, we're going to have the competition down this year because it's a new park and it's got all the newest obstacles and everyone does love it. All the pros have said they've actually said it's the best one in the country. So we'd like to be able to next year to be able to say you can.
Could you make this sort of mobile, so they could be off in the winter months or something?
We could do, yeah.
You know, you have the bases there and the connections, and that's a bit what's it, but because the trees are on, I'm just worried that, you know, if we let it.
And we have planted trees. We
Yeah, I know,
planted
yeah.
the main trees, the big ones, they're all in.
Yeah.
And we put them in first because we know they're going to take the longest ones to mature.
I can see Sammy's Leisure Park one, you know, if we let you go on, and there's other, you know, other sites all down that road there, meadows.
Yes,
Yeah.
And what about the wildlife fund? Sorry,
No,
Councillor, may I ask the wildlife fund? What's happening with them?
We've brought more wildlife to that place there now than whatever was there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Sorry.
I can't remember everything that was said, but didn't the lady say that the plan was to put the caravans on somewhere that was earmarked for one of the ponds?
No.
Yes,
No,
if I may.
there's no ponds. No pond was going to be going where the
Thanks, I
caravans
read
are.
it. Just sort of said like,
That's the last thing.
Does anyone want one?
No, so.
What's your gentleman's name?
James.
James, yeah. I mean, when this application first came here, it must have been 3 years ago. There was some heated discussion about it. Some people were in favour, others were strongly against. And from what we can see, it looks like a good facility. I mean, I'm not a wakeboarder or
We've only had good feedback.
but this to me looks a bit like planning creep. You've got permission for one scheme and now you're building on that and growing, and it's becoming more like an urban.
Well, no, all this is for basically the wakeboard is all over the country. They're like one big family, really. You could sort of say it's just for somewhere for them to come and stay more than anything.
But the water in the you know, the jumping area and the swimming area, the aqua park and the inflatable area, is that treated water?
That's filtered water, yeah.
It's chlorinated.
It's not chlorinated,
No,
not chlorinated, no, it's filtered. And as you were saying earlier on, we have got a filtered pond there.
Where does it come from, the water?
The water that we first pumped out of the river.
So you're going to take more out of the river?
No.
No.
No,
It's
we've got
on a
our own
floodplain, isn't it?
We've got
It's a
our own,
floodplain.
we've got our own borehole as well, so if we
Right.
need to top up,
Okay.
top up with fresh water, but all of that water, it gets sucked out of one end and it goes round in a pipe through a big filter system, through a big shingle flower bed with loads of everything that's planted, through a filter system basically, you just recycle the
And
way
you
around.
say the
No,
caravans are not...
can you stop asking questions, please? Well, you don't, you go through me, you go through the chair. Okay.
Can I suggest, obviously I'm new to this
Yeah.
on the planning committee, that would it be appropriate to have a visit to the wakeboard park by all resources, because so we can understand a lot more about what's going on.
Is there a deadline?
Yes, it will be before the next planning committee. It's usually 21 days.
So we've got within that, because it's such an important thing and a growing important thing to Sandwich.
I mean,
thank you. I'm comfortable with the park's activities as they are. I'm comfortable with the idea of expanding space for caravans and mobile homes in Sandwich if the site is appropriate. However, For me, it's an absolute principle that people should respect the conditions of a planning application before seeking a variation, and I'm opposed to this variation simply on those grounds. On the question of access to the site, I would have my doubts as to the ability of people driving with a caravan behind them to get into a narrow.
It's wide.
It's massive.
From-
You can fit
from
two
the road.
coaches in there at the same
You
time.
know, it's okay. It's okay with the existing caravan park next to the railway line, where access is very good. But if they had to do a 90-degree turn into a site, I think it could be an obstacle to traffic. But my main concern is just that, you know, that conditions on a planning application should be adhered.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I've followed this for a few years. I remember when the first plan application came in, and I was very excited because I love the toys in the town. You know, I do and the stuff I do. I mean, the one that was Wake has been a major success.
Yeah.
In the summer months, it's teeming, especially the weekends. My daughter keeps asking me to take her, and I haven't taken it yet, so I do apologise. But no, the only concern I have is the static caravans. The rest of it, the tents and the mobile caravans, camper vans, caravans, etc. That I'm absolutely fine for that. If they come on site, they come off site, then they go home. The other thing is, if there's static caravans there, you're taking away the business from the town, from people staying in the town. That's another thing for me as well, for people to live, staying in the hotels and stuff. However, apart from that, the rest of it I agree with, and I would support the application.
Yeah, I agree.
On the portal, there's a letter from the Flood and Water Management KCC, which raises a number of questions, one of which is that the Internal Drainage Board don't appear to have made any comment, and various other questions, and the conclusion of that letter is that a holding objection should be made until these points have been clarified. So I think we have to go along with the experts on that and say we can't give support or take a neutral stance on this if the Drainage Board are the Flood and Water Management operation at KCC is saying there needs to be a holding objection because further information is required.
Just going back to the previous point, maybe it's not applicable if we're no longer making a comment, but I think it would be useful to clarify, because there's a dispute, whether this pond is going to appear, and if so, is it where the caravans are going or not?
No,
Maybe we need to clarify that, I don't know how.
hundreds of metres away from it.
How does it proceed then? Ask your advice, because this has come up with Dover District Council. Why they allow this planning application to come forward?
Yeah. So as consultees, obviously you have access to all the documentation, as Councillor Wiles has pointed out. If there's anything that members aren't happy with, or you know, are looking to the advice from Kent County Council, then obviously that could be forming an objection, but it's up to you as a committee whether or not Councillor Wiles has just...
Well, they didn't object before when it initially started, so it's done like 2/3 of the work.
Yeah, it's obviously up to committee members.
I'd like to proceed with this. And partly the statics.
Can we do ask variation with regard to the statics? I think that's my concern.
You're concerned about statics.
On a different level.
Yeah.
Or I'm not sure if the town clerk can advise me on this, but can we, for instance, approve the plan application subject to reports from the drainage board and stuff? Are we allowed to do that?
They would be discussing anyway, wouldn't they, in a couple of weeks?
So basically, you can either support without comment, support with comments, object, or no comment. So you know, there isn't.
Support with comments.
So yeah, so I propose that we support with comments.
Yeah.
if you can clarify the comments, please.
Well, my comments would be with regard to the statics. If we're accepting statics on a leisure area and objecting to statics on a traveller area, immediately opposite the road, we have a cultural problem. We have an issue there. I can't justify it.
And also Councillor Wiles's comment regarding the drainage board.
Yes, we're against the statics basically. We're against the statics on the other side of the road.
And also if we could put in about June's comment as well regarding about the location of the ponds and stuff.
Otherwise it goes through Dover and we won't have no comment.
Exactly that. So we need to. I mean, I fully support it because it's great for the town. I do feel it's good for the town.
So is that a proposal?
That's a proposal from me. Yeah.
Second, are we in favour of that then?
Can you repeat the report?
So I propose that we support the application with the comments made that we've just written down regarding the drainage board reports, the static caravans and the pond.
So Councillor Reid proposed.
Seconder.
Okay, we have a vote on that then. Who's for it? I'm for it. There's three in it. You against? You abstain?
I'm against.
You against?
So
I'm against,
okay,
That's
so
three.
3 4 and
It's 3 to 2.
3 to 3.
sorry, 3.
It's passed, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, yes it is.
3
Yeah.
to 2,
Okay, thank you. Item F, reference 23/00465, location Wayfarers, St Bart's Road, Sandwich, CT 13 0AW, proposal alteration to elevations following approval of change of use, 23/00046. So it's going to be a sheltered accommodation.
Yes. I fully support the last application and I fully support this one.
Second.
Yeah, any comments? No? We're all in favour of this application? Thank you.
So sorry, that's Councillor Reid
Proposing.
and who's second?
Councillor
Thank
Pennington.
you, Councillor Pennington. Thank you. Thank you.
G, reference 23/00513, location Magnet Grange, Sandown Road, Sandwich, CT 30 9LA, proposal prior approval for the change of use from boarded schoolhouse to state funded school use class F1A. I think they use it for a 647 year, I believe. So.
I'm surprised to see this because isn't this up for sale?
Yes.
Well, it's not now, is it? The school are going to use it.
So we've drawn it from being on sale there. Because it's very inside, it's a real sort of ball-in layout, isn't it? With little rooms going off. You
I
have
think
to
it's
do
a
a
sixth
bit
form
now
study area.
inside
Well,
to change
it's
it.
still on Stratton Parker's website today.
Well, perhaps it is, but it's apparently. Well, I've been informed.
It may be the case. It may be the case of. Sorry, Chair. It may be the case of that if the application is granted, then they take it off sale. If it's not, then they keep it on sale. I think that's what it might be the case of. They're waiting for the application to be passed or declined before they make the sale or take it away.
An application.
It's on sale subject to planning obviously. So recommend approval.
Yeah, is there a second for that? Yeah, I'll second that. All in favour of that? Okay.
Thank you.
H. Reference 23/00469, location 154 St George's Road, Sandwich, CT 13 9LD. Proposal, erection of side and rear extension with new driveway, arrangement existing garage to be demolished.
I recommend
Support.
Yeah.
I don't think there'd be any objections.
It's all in the garden, isn't it? Yeah. You would see it.
agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
I, reference 23/00486, location 36 High Street, Sandwich, CT 13 9EG, proposal replacement ground floor, first floor windows with double glazed windows.
Plastic or wood? I was going to say they're like for like or.
I couldn't find this one either.
No, I couldn't find it either.
Either by reference or address.
And is it grade 2?
36. I knocked on all those doors, I should know now.
It should be, the timber should be
On
on
the
the
left hand side.
It's in the main town centre, isn't it? So it's got to be like for like. But as I said with the one before, if it's not on, there, then we have to defer it.
Yeah. They don't like double glazed windows, do they? Okay. Reference 23/00516, location to the ramparts, Knight Road Street, Sound, CT 13, 9ER. Proposal variation condition to approve plans to allow amendment to garage and access of planning permission, DOB stroke 21 stroke 00496, section 73, erection of ground floor and first floor infill extension, new dormer to third floor, alteration to first floor terrace, extension of existing garage incorporating gym parking, the soft and hard landscape, existing extension and external slips to be demolished. Originally it was a flat underneath and then a house on top. So now it's just going to be turned into one property. So I'll all in favour of that.
I think there's been work going on there for some considerable time. The builders have been there on site for several months. I think what they're doing, you can't really say.
I wasn't here in 2021, but I was a bit surprised by the extent of the redevelopment of the garden there. But I can understand that they want to improve the access to the garages, of which there are now 3.
3 garages. It's a double garage, double door, isn't it? But before, the person that lived there before had a concrete pad and he kept cars there with a cover on.
Yeah.
Dick Perry, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dick Perry's house, yeah.
This property is not very visible either from Knight Rider Street or the Millwall.
And that basement flat used to suffer a lot with damp. And no people used to rent it. So it's all an improvement to this building, isn't it? Yeah, we'll pay them.
Propose to support it.
Yeah.
So that whole road is awkward for traffic.
Well, not right street. Yeah, well, if they're going off, they're not keeping their cars on the road, or they're going into the property, aren't they? There's room for about 4 cars.
I think Councillor Pence is more concerned about the building works, lorries going in. Is that what you're thinking of? Lorries going in and out to do the building works, or just the cars in general?
I imagine, well, might be. I used to go there regularly, and it was always a bit difficult to find somewhere to turn and so on.
I think a lot of the people that live there do have garages, don't they?
Yeah,
the rectory. It's only visitors that generally park in the road.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we vote on? Yes. Thank you. Yeah. We vote on that.
Thank you.
Okay, reference 23/00597, location Land West of Montague Road, Discovery Park, Sandwich. Propose a variation of condition 2, approved plan to amend design and layout and remove the condition 11, roof plant of planning permission 21/01447, section 73, erection of drive-through restaurant, bin store and associated parking, class EU use. I think it's going to be a McDonald's.
Yeah, so if for people that don't know, for the camera, that it's been in the local news. It's on Discovery Park on the new Shell garage. It was going to be a Leon pulled out. It was going to be Burger King then pulled out. So McDonald's has now taken the lease on. The idea is that they want to build a drive-through to go around it, and also obviously a bin store and associated parking. I will fully support this. Because it's going to bring, I've been told, 120 jobs into the town. It's going to be a 24-hour use, same as the So I would support this.
McDonald's are everywhere.
Yeah.
Whether we should be supporting, I have a McDonald's maybe twice a year, but it's not exactly healthy food. I think we should object to the words drive-through, THRU, is an Americanism which should not be used here. But I don't think there's any substantive objections to this. It's an existing building which they want to adapt for another I mean, Leon is a healthy eating establishment, McDonald's less so, but what can you do?
Chicken wraps nice.
Breakfast is in better.
They are
Yeah,
becoming,
muffin.
they
Yeah.
are becoming more.
I propose recommend approval.
Yeah. I think the next thing they'll be coming be advertising. They'll be wanting to put the big M up, won't they? But that's not on this.
That's not on there yet.
Come later.
That will come later.
So that's your proposal from Councillor Marie.
Yeah, I'll second it.
I'll second.
I love chicken wraps.
Big, it's all commercial there.
Yeah. Item 9. Planning decisions to receive and note latest decision taken by Dover District Council on new planning applications. So,
Can I just, sorry, Councillor.
23/00098 76A Strand Street. I'm dismayed to see that this was granted approval. This is within the conservation area. It's a traditional concrete roof, and they're proposing a side flat roof dormer, which is completely out of keeping with the rest of that area. John was aware of this at the time. I think it's disgraceful that should have been given
I don't
planning.
think Juliet balcony fits in with
Yeah.
anything local at all in the area, really.
Yeah, I brought this up, the report from the planning officer. Against heritage, it says yes. So presumably some heritage person at DDC has said it's okay. It says, does it respect the character and appearance of existing dwelling? Yes. Is the proposal acceptable within the street scene from public vantage points? Yes. I don't know how he's reached this decision, and I don't know if we're too late, but I understand from the chair that the only way to challenge these things is for a councillor to call it out, whatever that means. Could Mark Morehouse call it out if he was so minded?
I think it's gone right through, hasn't it?
That is normally before the expiry of the advertisement dates, yeah, you are right, a district council can call it in, that's what they call, they term it, but it is before the expiry date, they don't have an extended time to do that. So it will be something, if you had an application this evening and you did want it called in, that's something that members could agree, and then I'll contact the district council.
But how can you call it in before he's made a decision? You know, it's the decision that we're unhappy with.
Yeah, so sorry, we're looking at, these are decided applications, these are not applications for consideration.
But when we considered it,
Yes.
we wouldn't need to call it in until he objected, until he said it was okay. Do you see what I mean?
So,
I mean, if we wanted to object to the decision, how can we do that before the decision is made? It's like preempting it.
so basically, if the committee objects to an application and they feel very strongly about it, they can ask it to be called in, because what that means is some of these applications are delegated to an officer. They won't necessarily go before the committee at Dover District Council. When you call it in, it means that it will go to the committee. That's the difference. So it's very key sometimes to look at these. If there's delegated officer decision, that could be a concern to members if they feel strongly enough about that.
Thank you, I didn't know that. I'll bear it in mind for the future.
Could I just ask, sorry, can I just one question on to that? So, for instance, if DDC committee, planning committee decide that they agree with something that say Sammy's doesn't agree with, can the DDC council, is there a cooling off period where the council, a DDC council can then say, well, hang on a minute, no, I object to that application? Can it be like taken back in and re-looked at or not?
I mean, the only way you can challenge the principal planning authority once they've made the decision is to go to appeal, which is for the person who's putting in the planning application. But as consultees, you know, I mean, the Dover District councillors, some of them are sitting on the planning committee at Dover District, so that's where you got that link. But as the town council, we are consultees. That's our position.
Do we happen to know, just as an aside, who was our representative at DDC for the planning at that time? Was it?
Don't think we had
It depends what, you don't always, it wouldn't necessarily be a sandwich ward councillor. It could be say a Whitfield councillor or a Deal councillor that's on the
But
planning.
we don't know whether.
So you'd have to look at the planning
Stan
committee
Friend
of Dover
was-
District Council and find what the councillors are.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to contact them personally and say, can you please call that in?
Yeah. Was Dan Friend on the planning committee? I'm just
No,
asking.
it wasn't. No.
So we didn't have a rep, okay, thank
Yes,
you.
it was.
Yeah, I just think this is a really important point of principle,
Yeah.
because when you go up St Mary's Church and look at the town,
Mm.
it's remarkable how uniform the roof scape
Yes.
is. There are some flat roof buildings within the conservation area,
Yeah.
but mostly they were probably built in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
Nothing more recently that I'm aware of.
You don't allow it now.
And it should not be allowed. You know, this is going to stick out like a sore thumb on the side of a traditional,
Lovely house.
probably 18th century house, and we should object to it in whatever way we can. So I think we need to know exactly what the legal measures might be that we can take this forward.
Yeah.
Because it sets a precedent. Once this happens, then other people will come forward, and the whole, unity of the townscape will start to change.
Could we ask a question of those district council, how they've allowed a flat roof in when it goes totally against, conservation, there should be pitch roofs.
I mean, you wonder if the officer has just done a desktop,
Yeah,
and not even looked at the streetscape.
This isn't, it's not something I'm as familiar with as some of you, but given what we've just been advised about calling things in, if the committee strongly objects to 2 John's Green, this variation, could that be called in? Would you want to do that?
Well, because if
Before we
we
miss the boat.
find the planning, we need to find out who the planning committee, because it's all being restructured at the moment, isn't it?
I do, but I have spoken to Councillor Friend today, and they are currently restructuring all the committees because it's now changed hands from Conservative to Labour. Labour have the control. They're doing it tonight. Hence why Councillor Friend and Councillor Morehouse aren't here tonight.
So it has to be called in by somebody on the planning committee at Dover.
Or a councillor, I believe.
So us as either a council or a separate councillor can ask our councillor, our DDC representative, to call it in to the planning officials for them to look into it.
And I'm asking, do you want to do this? If he's not appointed till tomorrow, then ask him tomorrow. I'm just saying, do you want to call in this one because
Too
there's
late
not
now, it's
strong
passed,
feeling?
isn't it?
No, sorry. I'm talking about John's Green, which we spoke
so
about
John's Green.
earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Because you all seem to feel quite strongly against that.
Yeah.
So now's the time to call it in,
Yeah.
if you want to do it.
Yeah. We'd have to ask all our councillors, won't we?
Yeah.
But do you want to do it?
Well, I think so,
I can
don't
only
we?
comment, I
I
can't.
think we do. Yeah, we do, sorry. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, right.
We can contact Councillor Friend or Councillor Morehouse, or both of them, and see what can be done. And so that's everything we can do.
According to discussed by the council, not the officers.
Yeah. I think generally also there may be an issue of timetabling. That very often if we come in when a lot of the interior work has been, internal work has been done in DDC, it may make it more difficult to take our opinions into account. And we ought to know really in contentious cases when the planning committee is going to meet in DDC. And that's something for Councillor Friend and Councillor Morehouse to try and pick up for us.
Yeah, so whenever we strongly object, we should have words with our councillors, district councillors, to say, please call that in.
Are we speaking generally about this or going by one by one?
Well, I think we've got any comments on
Just to note.
Just to note, towards the end, 14/00058/E, Discovery Park, their redevelopment, obviously it's going to go ahead. At Woodensborough yesterday we discussed obviously planning in this, on a smaller scale. The log storage which is proposed for Ash Road, because there's 2 log storages, two proposals, one on Ash Road opposite the Wake Park, and one further down where the old dump used to be. We're objecting on the grounds it's creeping industrialisation in a rural and a leisure area, so we actually are strongly objecting to that. One of the things that was raised is why are they asking for log storage now and not before? From this application, it's clear that they want to redevelop the existing log storage on Discovery Park into something totally different. Further commercial properties, and I think further down it's residential, but they're looking at the land as being commercial rather than just storing logs. That's where it's come from. So it's an observation and something of it, I think possibly to bear in mind.
I think they've had a problem, haven't they? Because they've had contracts to have timber supplied, and then they had that breakdown for about 5 months.
Yes.
And then we're on the planet way, and it's massive great logs.
But if you drive down, there's nothing. There's a very small area of logs stored and a huge area that's empty.
What does ANMA?
I was just about to ask, Councillor Wells, apologies, to the town clerk, if she could refresh, if it's possible, would you be able to send, because the former chief executive, she sent out a list of all the codes and what they could, would you be able to send that to all the committee members? Because I have no idea what the codes mean.
Used to be on the bottom of the
It did, but they're never on there anymore, so if that can be sent through, that would be much appreciated.
Another nice mess again.
I haven't remembered.
Yeah, okay. So we're happy to note that then?
Yeah.
Right. Item 10 now, aren't we? 10, okay.
Yes.
Street furniture applications. Receive and consider any application made to DDC in relation to a street furniture consent application under the Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982. Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982, Street Furniture Consent, Dover District Council, in pursuant to the revision of the Highways Act 1980, Section 115, hereby gives notice of an application to place tables and chairs on the highway at the location detailed below has been received. Furniture, 4 tables and 8 chairs, time is 8:30 to 1700 hours, Monday to Sunday. The Sandwich Bakery Company, Limited, 12 King Street, Sandwich. So I don't really think they put in there.
Chair, may I please? So this is, I saw this first and it went through the social media and I was very confused with it. And I think Councillor Wells found that it's actually Austin's Lane that's where the chair's going. I do find this quite misleading because quite a lot of people see King Street and they're thinking, oh God, the road's going to be shut forever, and so it kind of gets a bit confusing. So, but I'm not sure. The other thing is I'm concerned about is the residents down Austin's Lane. It's all closed off, and I just wanted to see. Well, I don't think they have a say because they've only just been found out that it's Austin's Lane, not King Street. But I do support it because I've previously supported a previous one before.
Previous one was Johnny Inker putting essentially the same tables and chairs down there, and it was removed because it was causing too much of a blockage.
Yeah, I don't think we can support this actually because it's in private. It says private house. It wouldn't be so bad if they just buy the Goats that Dance and the other little place, the bakery, but not to go further down. But it's. I don't think it's wrong.
My concern is the residents. That's the only thing.
I believe there is a plan, a very rough plan, which Christina Glynn has found on the DDC website.
No, not on the website. None of this is visible on the website, but it's actually in the window of the Sandwich Bakery, and I've shared that, and the residents were given a copy. But it is a very rough plan. It's not to scale, and the chairs aren't drawn in. But there has been talk about perhaps moving. They didn't realise that they might be able to go into St Peter's Garden, and so there's some talk about perhaps exploring that as an option in the same way that Goats did.
So the plan shows the 4 tables along the window of the bakery on Austin's Lane, which is public highway. I think there's a very narrow pavement.
There is a problem with that, yes, because there is a pavement and the pavement isn't even shown in the drawing. So there's a question: is it on the pavement or in the road?
I think we've got to turn it down to the road wrong.
And also, it's public highway. It would obstruct the. Although no vehicles come down there, there is the potential for vehicles.
It's an emergency access.
Pedestrians, and they should be encouraged to talk to the Goats about sharing tables in the churchyard. That would make sense. And they have tables within the bakery anyway.
Whether you agree to this or not, Goats have now started putting a clothes rail in Austin's Lane,
Yeah.
and they sometimes have a table and chairs there. So is it right to object to one and allow another one?
Whether they got permission, they're just doing it.
Well, then maybe the council should ask them not to do it.
Just about to say that, June, so that I think if that's the case, then maybe Goats of Dance need to have a word for by DDC
Yeah.
to say
There's no.
nothing to
It's
do
a
in
road
that
way.
lane. It's an emergency way anyway, because but the bollards come down in case it's an emergency.
More an ambulance down, more
Yeah. So, in that case, as I said, I am for this. However, it is quite misleading because it says King Street,
Mm,
obviously
that's
Austin's
right.
Lane. Obviously, Christina Green has said that the thing's not to scale and stuff. And maybe they can have a conversation. They can be put in contact with the manager of St Peter's and probably have it in St Peter's Gardens. But
Yeah, not supposed to.
sadly, I propose that this is rejected.
I said before, and I'll say it again, I really think we should have an overall view of where street furniture is possible and where it is simply too constraining on both pedestrians, on traffic, and conceivably on the local residents. I know it's thought of by some as being, not predestination, what's the word?
Determination. I mean, I have some sympathy with that view because we're always reacting to applications rather than saying this is where you can go.
Yeah.
Then make an application for this. So Market Street, for example, you could designate, take away some of the car parking and designate a bit of that for tables and chairs, for example. But this is just speculative. It's wrong. We should object to it.
Just sorry, June, after you.
And in line with what Councillor Wiles is saying, I'm not sure how much I object or approve, but that garden is becoming increasingly busy with tables and chairs, and how much of that do we want taken up, and how much do we want as free space for garden?
It's if I can answer that, it is up to the Church Conservation Trust and St Peter's to decide if they want to have it there. That it may be an idea for possibly to them to do a hiring scheme, exactly, and maybe it's done for the charity. The other concern is going back to what you said about the tables and chairs. I do believe that the town team, I've spoken to Mrs George a couple of times, that they do want to do a street furniture audit around the town again, because there's a lot of ables coming back again and bits and pieces. So maybe we can work with the conjunction with the town team and get something rolling and bring it back to council when it's done.
Didn't Bella and Malfi got plans to have tables and chairs on the other side of St Peter's?
Yes.
Next to Milk Cart Alley. So I mean the whole graveyard's going to end up covered in tables and chairs.
That used to be a house there. Opposite the church.
Bella and Alfie are in the bit
Behind the
just
wall memorial.
beyond the war memorial in the corner.
In that corner there.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not sure what period.
But as I said before, sadly, it is up to the CCT. It's their land, it's their building. If they want to have stuff on there, then it's up to CCT, and it's up to CCT management to decide whether or not things can go on there. So it's not up to the council, sadly, but it's up to the Church Conservation Trust. So, but I do know better around things stuff. Most of them, me and Councillor Malik, when we do events, we do pursue and we do say to businesses, establishments, please put chairs and tables outside, especially in the summer months, so people can enjoy the bit of the cafe culture when the events are taking place.
I wonder if it's possible in the future, or whether there's any interest in having somebody from the CCT on the planning committee, at least when issues come up that relate to them, because in my experience from when I was bell captain, it's sometimes hard to get a good relationship with them, and I think the more that we involve them and talk to them, the more opportunity there is for, discussing things like this.
Wow. we do go in and chat to them.
Yeah,
It's not quite the same though, is it?
Possibly could.
Well, it is, because there's nothing to do with them on the planning here, is it?
If something did come up, for instance, to say that for that area, we could invite CCT to speak about it. However, sadly, as I've just mentioned, it's their land, it's their decision what they want to do, and STC wouldn't have a say because it's it's private land. So the STC have adopted the land off their district council because the gardeners do the brilliant work, keep the garden running and stuff. So I do feel that we will be whistling in the wind, I think, for that one. So
DDC gave them that.
So the agreement is that the St Peter's Church gardeners, volunteers, they do the maintenance of the garden.
But who actually owns it now then?
BDC own the land to the St Peter's Gardens. However, it is run by STC as an agreement that CCT of running the ownership of it at present. I think that's correct, Councillor Wise.
I believe that's correct. The land, I'm not sure if it's the whole of the churchyard, including the little bit on Milk Alley, sorry.
So DDC could have some influence then if CCT were doing things.
Yeah, so
that
it comes
realise
under
that
DDC Open Spaces, but
Yeah.
it's delegated to Chris Day and his team of volunteers who look after it, free of charge.
And they do a great job.
Yeah.
But it seems they look after it, but the CCT decides how the land's used.
We just, it's a bit really, isn't it? I think we discussed this.
Yeah, so I think you're objecting, is that?
Yes.
Objection,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the address is all wrong anyway.
Thank you. So
Very
who
happy
propose that?
Well, I propose we strongly object.
Strongly object.
Okay.
Second it.
Okay.
What in favour of this objection? Okay.
I would abstain,
Abstain. Thank you.
because I like the idea.
Any comments that we would like them to approach CCT, or is that just as read?
I think it's as read. I mean we can put a comment to say that we do like the
We
idea,
support
however,
shop, but yeah.
but however it's not practical for where they want to put it, and it's misleading on the form on the paper.
Involved for like emergency for the residents of the little road.
But is anyone going to do anything about goats in Austin's Lane? Or are they going
Well,
to be
we're
allowed
finished
to
now, thank you.
continue?
I mean, as possibly, I could go and speak, but it's not my remit. So I'm not sure. Maybe we can contact someone from BDC to have a chat with them or something. So
What about the coat round?
yeah,
Dress round?
Just looks like, if we don't, it just looks like
Yeah.
discrimination.
or a friendly chat over a coffee, maybe.
Yeah.
In the garden.
Careful.
Yes.
Don't do anything.
I'm going to say I'll speak to Councillor Murray about it. Yeah. Okay.
Really?
Possibly, yeah.
It's next meeting to be confirmed, isn't it? Okay.
We've still got 11, 12 and
Oh,
13.
sorry,
Yes,
oh,
yes.
sorry, trying through the licensing now. I hate these little screens. 11 licence, to consider any licensing notice and issues received from Dover District Council, please note, none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. So, is that, no, okay. 12, enforcement, to consider any enforcement notice and issues received from Dover District Council, please note, none to consider at the time of issuing this agenda. Okay. 13, correspondence, to receive and consider correspondence relating to planning matters, including notification of appeals against refusal of planning application. Dover District Council have advised that an appeal has been made to the Secretary of State against the conditions attached to the consent for 22/00-548 upgrade of 2 number existing advertisement orders to display internally illuminated digital posters. Address advertising right north of Thanet Waste Services, Ramsgate Road, Sandwich, appeal reference APP stroke X 22220 stroke H stroke appeal start date 26th of April 2023, DDC reference 22 stroke 00548. So that's up to the end by the
That's just to receive a note, isn't it?
It's off the nature of that fact where it is.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Yeah, I think it's so, I have item 14, because he's not here really, is he?
Yeah. So you got no comment.
We haven't got a comment on it, I don't think. We did discuss this one time, it's a digital board, didn't we, this illuminated board, do you remember that?
I wasn't privy to it, so
I think we wanted the
I'm not
size
sure.
smaller, I believe. It faces those garages, doesn't it? So you see when you come from Thanet,
Yeah.
till the end of the Thanet Waste, you get that big fence they've got there. But I suppose they want the original.
I can't comment because I wasn't here, I didn't see it, so I can't comment. Councillor?
Thank you. Just to say that any comments that you did make previously will be sent to the planning inspectorate.
Okay,
So,
yeah, we wanted to make it slightly smaller, I believe. Yeah. Item 15 there, date of next planning meeting, 14th of June 2023. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
As you're officially over, can I just tell you, Anne-Marie Hewigan has sent me a message saying the CCT own all the land and St Peter's, DDC only have the liability of it to cut down the trees if needed, etc. So that's just a message that's come through from
Yeah,
Anne-Marie
I've got the same
Hugan.
message. Are the cameras off, Christina?
They are now.
Right, okay.
Yeah, don't say